Good afternoon. Here are just some of the recent headlines or video titles with scattered commentary and analysis. PA Republican, that's Pennsylvania, PA Republican reveals there was fraud in state's election by GOP. Well, it seems that some of the right-wing conspiracy theories were spot on. There was voter fraud by Republicans. There is sex trafficking of children by the deep state. Turns out the deep state is Republican. Here's another title: Why Penises Are Shrinking Across the World. Now, this is something that they've been aware of going back to 1983. And penis size is getting smaller, and sperm is degrading, and the taint is getting smaller. And this is caused by EDCs. And these are endocrine disrupting chemicals, which are pretty much in everything we use anymore. And of course, that's an exaggeration, but they're in a lot of the products that we use anymore. Plastics, they're in bug repellents, they're just in a lot of stuff. And it seems rampant consumerism, which is a Ponzi scheme, is self-defeating because a Ponzi scheme requires a constant influx of new customers, and rampant consumerism is intent on killing new customers. Funny how the very culture that certain types hold up as the pinnacle of civilization is destroying their progeny. Of course, replacement is happening. It goes like this. Well, if they can't reproduce anymore, that's okay. We can. Here's another fun title. Arizona Republicans embrace the ridiculous pursuing recount for Trump. Now, it seems the U.S. Army went to Germany to seize a Spanish server that was switching votes during the last election. Of course, none of this happened, but because somebody made up this fiction, Arizona wants a recount. Remember how our one-term ex-president said we'd be counting votes months after the election? And he said that just to sow suspicion of the process and to disenfranchise voters? Remember how everyone with a lick of sense said, geez, what an idiot. Turns out, for once, our one-term ex-president was right. Well, what are you going to do? New research on smoke health risks as climate change fuels wildfires. Okay, now let's see some Fox titles. GOP lawmakers give MLB until May 6th to explain All-Star Game move. Stephen Miller, Joe Biden is violating the Constitution. Now, I find that one particularly interesting, and I think that's important for two reasons. And the first is when the Republicans are violating the Constitution, it is just so blatant and obvious that it's just out there, everybody can see it. When the Democrats do it, they tend to be a little more slick, a little more shady. So it's good that we've got somebody calling them out on it. But also, because our one-term ex-president and his administration seem to have just absolutely no clue whatsoever what actually was in the Constitution, it's good to know that at least one person in his administration knew at least something. Moving on. Comedian says comedy is a casualty of the woke culture war. All right, if you're a comedian and you cannot make a routine out of that, well, you're not really a comedian. New Jersey man suing Dunkin' employee for spilling scalding coffee on him. Well, at least they've moved on to real people and given up on Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss books. Here's a really important one. China is buying up the world's ports, and no one is talking about it. That's from July 14th, 2020. So we've got some serious stuff mixed in with the frivolous stuff. Now, when your grandchildren, if your children can reproduce, ask, why do the Chinese own the world? Or, why do we have to wear these gas masks? Or, why don't white people ever have children anymore? Instead of explaining geoeconomics, or climate change, or how hormones work, you can just tell him or her, baby, we were too busy counting votes in Arizona to pay attention to other things. Now, of course, I don't think those things I just mentioned are going to be that drastic. But I also don't think alien lizard people are running the government, or there's a satanic blood-eating pedophile cult comprised of every famous person and everyone you don't like, or that a 3D chess playing, chosen by God, person, woman, man, camera, TV, I alone can fix it, genius could lose an election in this country and not be able to come up with the evidence of how it was fraud to even convince judges he appointed. Everything we do requires resources. We only have so much bandwidth. If we're wasting it on stupid shit, we won't have the bandwidth left to focus on the important shit. Sacrifice. You get to pick your damn sacrifice. That's all. You don't get to not make one. Thank you for watching. Plenty of stuff to click down below. It's important shit.